sports betting brother, and they bring it up, and thanks for stopping by. My name is Boyd, and I'm a data analyst with OddsJam.com, where we teach you how to bet like a sharp and use the tools that are there for you to make money. Now, typically we get questions all the time about when to put in the bet, when to place the bet, when's the best time, how what's the strategy behind that? And I'm going to give you sort of a Monday through Monday heuristics or task sheet of what you can do to help yourself improve and make more money, be more profitable, as there's different reasons and things you're looking for on your betting journey here in football. The college football, the NFL season's just got underway, a few weeks in, and it's starting to develop into some nice patterns and things you can use to be profitable. So I'm going to show you how you can incorporate this and to hopefully help yourself make more money. All right, guys, here we go. So we're going to start this off and let you know kind of a daily flight plan, or a daily that turns into a weekly and certainly a monthly heuristics and methods that a sharp uses. And we're going to kick it off here Monday, kind of go through the reasons, what you're looking for, kind of help you what you're hunting for. And certainly if you're going through the steps, you're going to understand why and how you're looking for different things on different days of the week. And this is going to help you kind of hone in and get the best value and find the best time with the best strategy to get the most value in all of your games week to week, month to month, through the entire season. You can apply the same concepts towards basketball, baseball, NHL, etc. So let's get started with Monday. All right, guys, here we go. Monday morning, just kind of getting through the weekend, Monday morning, getting up. And the first thing we'll typically do, or I'll do, is kind of review and go through what worked, what didn't work, and kind of reassess, especially through my bet tracker over at OddsJam. OddsJam is going to provide all these tools to you, of what worked, and kind of assess if I, again, taking notes along the way, where some of the strengths, some of the weaknesses were, and also try to remember situations or scenarios that may be happening in football. And of course, you can apply the same thing for basketball, baseball, whatever, for future games. And so making notes and kind of keeping track of things that may influence the future games coming up, and just sort of taking an overall inventory and helping yourself out. Of course, all the time, at any point in time, you're going to be checking out the OddsJam early lines, the opening lines coming out, and looking at some potential misprice opportunities right out of the gate. And this is where I want to point out a big deal, or a big thing, and that's the limits. Early on in the week, the limits are low, the limits are small. A lot of the major sharps, the major big players are not able to get in fully hardcore on some of the wagers that they might place a little bit later in the week, and we'll talk about that. So that's why Monday's kind of important, to sort of regroup, kind of find out what well, and just get an overall feel for the lines, the opening lines that are coming up for that next week, and seeing if you agree conceptually with the totals, with the sides, and some of the opening lines that are opening up on that Monday. And then just, keeping notes, keeping yourself aware of potential opportunities that may arise later in the week, either for against the spread or totals for that market coming up. So that's what I would do on Mondays. All right, on to Tuesdays. Tuesdays are pretty similar too, kind of keeping, again, close eye on the markets. If there's any jumps or anything standing out, trying to anticipate maybe where some of the moves might start to go. Taking some early positions and basically some smaller positions early, predominantly on major market games, especially if you anticipate the lines to change for some of the favorites or some of the totals. You may want to take an early position and then anticipate the movement. Of course, you're going to be prone to hedging those, or getting back out if you need to, if any unforeseen injuries come up. But again, thinking about the limits, the books are not opening up the valve totally yet for larger amounts. And of course, you're keeping your eye on the key numbers, the considerations, and the value of key numbers in football, especially the 3, 4, 6, and 7, and then monitoring those, as well as some of the teasers you might be able to get involved with. But again, if price changes come up, you may kind of not be in a good position with some of the long teasers, the 6.5 point teasers that may go hand in hand with NFL spreads. But that's another opportunity. But again, keeping more homework, keeping more notes, looking at whether potential influences on totals, and then also on the schedule. Check out the schedules, because you might have a team that's in a sandwich situation or a look ahead situation. Maybe they're coming off of a letdown situation the previous week. And so thinking about some of those motivational type positions that the teams and the players may have for that particular week. But I typically also will kind of be keeping my eye on the media and the public influence, because that's also a good place to go contrarian Typically, if all the sheep are going a particular direction, definitely the sports books and the odds makers know that, and you don't want to be caught in that. So if you're keeping your eye on media stuff, just please understand that the things that can actually quantitatively affect the game are what you should be looking at and paying attention to, and not let yourself get influenced by the media and other public people putting information out there that doesn't have anything to do with the game. Because believe you me, everything is baked into the price of these games, and so you're just kind of at that point absorbing it all, seeing what the market's offering, and starting to plan and prep for your moves. I want to point out too, I mentioned Mondays and Tuesdays. Not a bad idea again to take advantage of any types of wagers you might find on OddsJam at that particular time. Again, knowing that if you need to, it takes up a little bit of capital, but you can always get back out of things or go opposite to even that back out later in the week. So if you take a position and the odds, the lines, the injuries, whatever goes completely opposite of what you anticipated, you do have the opportunity. We'll show you here in a minute by checking your closing line value. Something to keep your eye on. But Wednesdays are definitely starting to really get into taking better and bigger positions. The sports books are opening up their limits a little bit more. And, again, looking at those long teaser options, especially in the NFL, long teasers are not, I believe, to be played in college football, but definitely in the NFL. And if you don't know what a long teaser is, it's basically playing on the key numbers and using those to your advantage. So also kind of planning and preparing the targets for Saturday and Sunday, because I want to have my position set Wednesday, Thursday, certainly no later than Friday, because I'm starting to lose value if I wait too long on certain things typically, and just understanding my overall bankroll and how I'm going to position everything throughout the upcoming weekend. I don't want to do any last-minute plays without the homework or the knowledge of what the market's doing. So, just trying to position early to take better value. That's what a sharp does. First of all, a sharp wins more than they lose. They get the better line, they get the better price, they get the better value. And if you're going to wait till the end, you're going to pay that premium price that the public's paying, and you're going to miss out on a lot of value. So hopefully that'll help understand maybe how you can start to plot some of your positions. There we go into Thursdays, and I'm really cross-checking. If this is you got your flight plan out, you kind of have your concept of where you're going to be looking to get a lot of your moves in based on the market analytics you're using with the OddsJam. Maybe you've taken some positions early. Maybe now you want to expand on those and open them up a little bit more. And maybe you're finding some other opportunities. But at this point, you're really just kind of double-checking all your data, double-checking all your research, and you're getting ready to take off, because you're going to have Friday to tie everything kind of up and get in early again on the value, so you're not waiting till the very end. If you wait till the very end, you've pretty much missed the majority of the boat. So highly recommend that Thursdays you're sort of just double checking everything to make sure you're ready to roll for Saturday and Sunday, and you've got your plan set aside. And certainly you're always open to any changes, any adjustments that come up through the positive EV page or through anything else that might affect the market relative to news, injuries, things like that. And a lot of times you're going to be getting more limits, raised limits, which you're going to see that the books take higher amounts. And so they're putting their feet into the ground a little bit deeper to take a position. And that's the point where you can also identify some of the stragglers, some of the books that haven't made their line adjustments yet. So if you've got some of the market making books, setting a deep position on some things and opening up those limits, that you can go back to some of the books that are stragglers and leaving some stale odds out there that you can take advantage of. So Thursdays are kind of a nice day to really start to hammer some of this stuff and get in early still. Fridays are nice. Friday's fun day. At this point, we're kind of cruising altitude. We've got majority of all of our bets are set. We're looking for more. We're trying to continue to see if our CLV or our closing line value is good, see if it looks good or bad. Kind of cross-checking everything as we're in flight, and just kind of sit back and enjoy our positions and monitor them in case we, for whatever reason, due to any news or changes suddenly, get back out of them and turn around and go back to the airport. But for the most part, at this point, we're at cruising altitude and got a lot of our wagers set, and feel good about our homework, feel good about the news that probably won't trip things up at this particular point. But that's where we would try to be positioned for Friday. And if you notice, I'm 2 or 3 days ahead of probably the average person, because typically the average person's getting up on a Saturday morning, placing their bets. So by that time, they've missed out on so much opportunity relative to value, even if they are on the right side. They're costing themselves money because they didn't get in a little earlier, get a better line and a better payout. All right, college football Saturdays. What a great day. So many things going on. I think one of the bigger opportunities is to make money in college football and college basketball, because there's so many so many choices, so many markets, so many teams. I think it's probably a lot more advantageous in profits than a tighter, more efficient market than the NFL. But for me, taking all these games in and watching them, it's all personal preferences. Some people like to go out, catch them, different locations and have a few cold pops and enjoy the games. I'll be honest, for me, I like to stay at home and I don't have to listen to some drunk idiot at a bar tell everyone about how so-and-so should have passed on third down and they have all the answers. And I sit there and kind of smile because I realize they're pretty much clueless about how the markets work, how all this can play itself out. And, they're going to have to listen to a bunch of drunk idiots at these places. But I do enjoy having a food or a beverage on Saturday game days and taking it all in, wherever that may be, whether it's at home or whether it's out and about. But at this point, I'm really just, sitting back and seeing what's going to develop with our positions that we had earlier in the week with all the homework that we did from the market. Sundays are kind of the same thing. I think Sundays for me are a little bit less action, only because I find less opportunities in the NFL market. And that's just me. You could be flip-flopped. You could be a person that does more in the NFL. I just feel like the NFL market's way more efficient, way more tough. You have a lot more competitive situation where anybody can beat anybody. And so a lot of weird things can happen on Sundays. Not that they can't happen on Saturdays, but I feel like I make more hay on Saturdays than I might on Sundays. But again, you're going to be watching and absorbing and taking all this in and kind of seeing how you did on the selections you got in earlier in the week, how things kind of played out, and again, sort of absorbing it all just to take in notes and prepare for the next week, which is tomorrow, Monday, the next Monday coming up. Back from Sunday Fun Day, and we're at the next Monday. And rinse, repeat, right? We're back at it. But ideally, what's going to happen is you're going to get better and better with your notes, with your market understanding, with the information that you've been able to take in, with the insights, and you're going to continue to improve, especially using the OddsJam tools, because they're going to help you identify these opportunities. And I think one thing to think of and keep in mind is this is markets driven. And whether you're a top-down or a bottom-up sports bettor, I think using the markets is where to go. And I think understanding how the markets work as far as limits, when the limits come out, helps you understand why positions and lines can be have a little more value to them on Thursday and Friday than they possibly would on a Monday or Tuesday. I think you got to play to your strengths, whether you're doing better at player props or whether you're doing it mainline bets, point spreads, totals, money lines, things like that. But I think all these things just go into the fact that you have to be really aware of markets, and what a better tool to use than OddsJam to help you identify the value, especially in areas where you think might not be, which is typically where it's at, right? So the sharps are going into locations and places and bets that you may not consider, and Joe Public, as the odds makers know, are going to go into the recency bias, the media bias, and all of the things that play into being a sucker, not being a sharp, and that's not what you want. It's not how you make money. So anyway, hopefully this helps kind of understand some of the daily, weekly, seasonal methods you can incorporate and use to add to your own scenario and be more profitable. So if you have any feedback, please leave it below. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk more soon.